So we're going to present you the temporary occupation in the old Saint-Vincent-de-Paul hospital in the 14th district in Paris. The municipality really supported us from the beginning because it's Karine Petit, the mayor, she called the two others organizations. After Aurore, she called Yes We Camp and Plateau Urbain to join in the project. But it was like more supervision from far away. And I think what we have to keep in mind, and that's the incredible thing about it, is when they give us the site, they had no idea of what we are going to do in it, and there was no program, we didn't write anything about it, so it was experimentation pretty much every day. It was not a success for everything, but we learned from our failure, and then so there was a huge trust in young structures too, because Plateau Urbain was created in 2015, and Yes We Came too. So we were babies running a huge site in the center of Paris. So I think, yeah, it's a bit crazy when you think about it that this could happen. So in 2015, you have the signature of a temporary convention between the APHP and Aurore for the management of the entire site. And at the time, the site was 3.5 hectares with 600 people living in 5 different accommodation centers and more than 250 structures. So you can imagine it was in an old hospital, so the place was really huge. And we had to make everything ready for install this new project in. We have what we call then the season 2, because after many talks and discussions with the future developer and new owner of the site, Paris Métropole Aménagement, we dealt the extension of the temporary occupation from 2018 till June of this year, 2020. There was at the time only 100% living there and 3 different accommodation centers and 100 structures. There was also new equipment in this second phase of the project. There is an insertion restaurant. There is also in this season 2 ground floor shops. There is also now compost and female urinals, because on the next project they really want to reduce all the consumption of all the alimental waste, and there is also one of the only 2 daycare centers for asylum seekers that we have in Paris in this temporary project.
So after the temporary project, there will be this eco-district, which will be built at around 2023. So in the original agreement between PMA and the association Aurore, and further with Les Grands Voisins, it was to occupy the site while it was vacant and then leave to build the new eco-district. So it was 3.5 hectares, like St. Mary before, in Paris center, and this is a huge price for land, because it is a huge surface in center of Paris. So the eco-district program was designed by PMA, and it is now composed of 600 housing, which half of it is social housing, more than 3,000 square meters of public equipment, but also composed of an important part of commercial and activity spaces.
So as you can see on this scheme, we have like the piloting structure on the core of it, which is represented by Aurore, Plateau Urbain, and Yes We Camp. So it's approximately 20 people in the team. We gathered really frequently, and we have a reunion held every week that is also open to all the stakeholders and users of the site. We also have created 3 different committees. As you can see, there is the programmation committee, the technical committee, and the social work one. But these types of committee can be as many as is necessary. It depends mostly on the site's needs and program. These decisional committees gather frequently, and we announce the time and schedule in advance, so as many as people interested can come. And the piloting structure, we assist them and take care of these committees by helping them financially if they need, or in an administrative way. And finally, you have around this what we call circles. This circle can be independent and self-governing. They can be created on someone's need or a specific thematic or knowledge. And what we do to gather really everyone on the site is what we call a neighbor council. We hold it every month, and we invite all the people that works and live on the sites. The intern communication is very fundamental because pretty much every day you have more than 500 persons living on this site. So we use internal letter. We also have our own messaging service using Slack for Les Grands Voisins. And we have multiple reports of every reunions. The important thing too is our relation with the institutional partnerships, because we have we meet them really frequently to follow the project and also talk about our budget and stuff. What we learn about it after these different years is that coming from different corporate culture can be sometimes difficult for the teamwork, because we have different history and type of management. But also the implication of the stakeholders can be tough work, because it's always the same participants in governance that comes, and it's sometimes really difficult to make everyone feel that they're understood and they take the same decisions as us. And we're still processing on what's the best way to make a decision, and we are still experimenting a lot of different way of doing it. So a really brief focus on our budget. So as you can see, it's a non-profit budget, and we are just looking for balance. As you can have just an overview to the price per meter square we offer to the artisans and artists, it's approximately around 250 euros per year. And so you can see the main income come from the occupants' rents, because every person who has a place in Les Grands Voisins pay for it, even Aurore or Yes We Camp when they use it for accommodation center or the daycare center, etc. And for sure, on the side of the expenses, it's mostly the salary team and all the maintenance and the floods of the site. So really quickly, we focus on some of the key impacts of this temporary occupation. And first is we answer a lot of problematics of the city life by opening our door to the public. We have a lot of outdoor space, so we face with this lack of space, mostly in the center of the cities, especially in Paris, where we have one of the highest population density per square meter. But also it's really important to maintain these rents accessible to people, because most of the old workshop city centers of the 19th century has been closed down these past decades, leading to an exode of artistic practice in the suburbs. But also by mixing different public, make this place so special, because inhabitants of the neighborhood rub shoulders with people who live there and interact together. So being a comfort zone space for the homeless people is also really important. We try to bring back solidarity a bit in our life by trying new offers as suspended coffees or lunch, free meals, or upcycling centers, very accessible.
One of the biggest maybe recommendation that this temporary occupation gave to the urban developer was maybe understand and fix a concept of affordable rent prices on housing, but also commercial and handcraft activity spaces, for example. At last, this experience also changed our professional practices of urban planning and design in Paris, and with this urban developer PMA, because we try to imagine how to integrate urban recommendations from this temporary occupation into the program of PMA. But thanks to this experimentation, we try to launch more experimentation than this one, and try to think about what are the impacts in the laws and what we have to change in French laws to make it continue and take into account the temporary recommendations.
As a conclusion, we saw that every project is really unique and specific. It comes, especially for our case, also from the history and the storytelling we create all around it. Every time we build a temporary occupation, we should ask ourselves what happened inside before, what was the use of it, what's surrounding me, and really analyzing the territories around and the needs of the population is really important. We saw that also already that duplication of this model has happened in Paris with Les Cinq Toits, which is a small Grands Voisins opening in the 15 and the 16th district in Paris. But yeah, it's really important to have in mind to not just duplicate a project, but readapt it to exactly what's the needs of the population around.
Any immediate questions from the audience? What do the neighbors think?
So at first everyone said, oh my God, no, please go away. For those who doesn't know, for the 14th district in Paris is quite a rich area. So yeah, they were mostly afraid, and of course it's always the same. When you don't know what's going to happen, you're a bit scared. But after that, we had a few conflicts with some of the neighbors because of the noise and stuff, but then it's regulated naturally. And now they all come to the restaurant to use pretty much all the equipments we have inside. But with the daycare center, when they saw like tons of migrants doing the queue to enter in it, most of them were like, okay, can you find another place because it's on my part of the street, so blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's just opening dialogue with them, making them understand what we are doing. And now we have volunteer people from the neighborhood that comes to help us for doing the laundry or serving tea in the morning to them. So I think now it's getting to be accepted by the most. And so you have only 5 months to come to see Les Grands Voisins before we close, so go for it.